While my husband was in the hospital recovering from surgery, I slept with his brother. And now I'm terrified he'll find out before I can figure out if I even want to stay married. I can still smell that parking garage. Oil stains and exhaust fumes and Jake's cologne, the expensive one Marcus always teased him about. My little brother thinks Armani makes him a man, he'd say, laughing. Marcus never wore cologne. Said real men smell like hard work and honesty. God, the irony burns my throat even now. The affair started 2 hours after they wheeled Marcus into surgery. Jake and I were the only ones in that sterile waiting room at 5 a.m. His parents live in Florida now, couldn't fly up in time. My parents? Well, they stopped talking to me years ago for reasons that seem quaint compared to this. So it was just us, two people who'd barely exchanged more than holiday pleasantries in the 8 years Marcus and I have been married. You look exhausted, Jake said, sitting down next to me with 2 cups of hospital coffee that tasted like liquid cardboard. He was right. I'd been up for 36 hours straight, ever since Marcus collapsed at his construction site. One minute he was arguing with a contractor about load-bearing walls, the next he was on the ground, his heart failing him at 41 years old. Jake's hand found mine somewhere around hour 3 of waiting. Just fingers interlacing, innocent enough. He's strong, he kept saying. Strongest person I know. But his thumb was drawing circles on my palm, and I didn't pull away. I should have pulled away. Instead, I leaned into his shoulder and started crying, and he held me, and suddenly I was noticing things I'd trained myself not to notice for 8 years. How his jaw was sharper than Marcus's. How he smelled expensive instead of practical. How his hands were soft, uncalloused, the hands of a software developer who'd never swung a hammer in his life. By hour 5, we were sharing stories about Marcus that felt like betrayal just in the telling. He still sleeps with that ratty Steelers blanket, I said, laughing through tears. Says it's good luck. He's had that thing since high school, Jake replied, his breath warm against my ear. Used to drive me crazy when we shared a room. Smelled like feet and victory, he'd say. The space between us kept shrinking. Every laugh pulled us closer. Every shared memory became a bridge to something I couldn't name but could feel building in my chest, something that had nothing to do with grief and everything to do with the way Jake's eyes lingered on my mouth when I talked. When the doctor finally came out, said Marcus had made it through but would need weeks of recovery, possibly months of rehabilitation, Jake hugged me. It started as relief, pure relief that Marcus was alive. But it lasted too long. His hand splayed across my back, pulling me against him, and I could feel his heart racing through his designer shirt. When we pulled apart, his eyes asked a question I shouldn't have answered. I need air, I said. I'll come with you, he said. We took the elevator to the parking garage in silence. The moment the doors closed, the air changed. Became thick, electric. His finger brushed mine on the elevator rail. Such a small touch, but it sent heat straight through me. I hadn't felt that kind of want in years. Marcus and I had settled into comfortable routine long ago. Saturday night if we weren't too tired. Pecks on the cheek before work. We were partners, teammates, but when did we stop being lovers? When did I stop feeling like a woman someone could want desperately? Jake looked at me like he was starving. Like I was water in a desert. Sarah, he said, just my name, but the way he said it made it sound like a confession. Don't, I whispered, but I stepped closer. He's my brother, Jake said, but his hand was already cupping my face. He's my husband, I said, but I was already tilting my head up. The kiss was everything Marcus's kisses hadn't been in years. Desperate. Consuming. Wrong in every way that made it feel electric. Jake pressed me against a concrete pillar, and I let him. His hands in my hair, mine clutching his shirt, both of us gasping like we were drowning in each other. Come to my car, he said against my mouth. I did. God help me, I did. What happened in that BMW's backseat was nothing like making love. It was selfish and urgent and exactly what some broken part of me had been craving. Jake whispered things Marcus would never say, touched me like I was something to be conquered rather than cherished, and I came apart in ways that had nothing to do with love and everything to do with feeling alive while my husband fought to stay that way 3 floors above us. Afterward, clothes hastily rearranged, the guilt crashed over me like ice water. Jake was already making plans. When he's better, when things calm down, we need to talk about this. About us. There is no us, I said, but even I could hear the lie in it. Sarah, I've wanted you since the day he brought you home. 8 years of watching him have what I couldn't. The words should have horrified me. Instead, they thrilled me in some sick way. To be wanted that long, that intensely. Marcus wanted me, sure, but it was comfortable want. The kind that could wait until after the game was over, until the bills were paid, until tomorrow, always tomorrow. We went back upstairs separately. I sat by Marcus's bedside when they finally let me in, held his unconscious hand, and felt Jake's touch still burning on my skin. Marcus's hand was rough, familiar, safe. It was the hand that had built our deck, painted our bedroom, held me through my miscarriage 3 years ago. It was a good hand. A faithful hand. Jake texted me that night while I was sleeping in the hospital chair. "Can't stop thinking about you." I deleted it. Then retrieved it from the trash. Then deleted it again. Marcus woke up the next morning, groggy but himself. "Hey, beautiful," he said, voice raspy from the breathing tube. Did I miss anything? The lie came so easily it scared me. Nothing important. Just waiting for you to come back to me. But Jake kept texting. Kept finding reasons to visit. And I kept finding reasons to be alone with him. The second time was in his apartment while Marcus was at physical therapy. The third was in my own bed while Marcus was at a follow-up appointment. Our bed. The bed where Marcus and I had made love 1,000 times, where we tried for a baby, where we held each other through grief and joy. It's been 3 weeks now. Marcus is getting stronger every day. Yesterday, he suggested we try for a baby again once he's fully recovered. "This whole thing made me realize how short life is," he said. "I want everything with you, Sarah. The whole package." Jake was texting me while Marcus said this. "Leave him. We both know you're not happy." But here's the thing Jake doesn't understand, the thing I'm only now starting to understand myself: I'm not unhappy with Marcus. I'm unhappy with myself. Marcus is everything a husband should be. Loyal, hardworking, devoted. He brings me flowers every Friday, even now when walking to the corner store winds him. He tells me I'm beautiful first thing every morning, even with my hair a mess and morning breath. He loves me the way people promise to love in wedding vows but rarely do in real life. I'm the broken one. I'm the one who needed to feel wanted by someone who shouldn't want me. Who needed the thrill of being chosen over loyalty, over family, over basic human decency. Jake doesn't love me. He loves the idea of winning something that belongs to his brother. And I don't love Jake. I love the way he makes me feel like I'm worth betraying everything for. Last night, Marcus pulled me close in bed, carefully because of his incisions. "Jake's been weird lately," he said. "Distant. You notice anything?" My heart stopped. "No. Maybe he's just worried about you." "Maybe," Marcus said, but there was something in his voice. "He's always been complicated. Always wanted what he couldn't have." "What do you mean?" Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "Nothing. Just. I'm glad I have you. A man knows when he can trust someone completely." I lay there in the dark, feeling those words like knives between my ribs. Trust. Complete trust. The foundation of everything we built together, and I demolished it for backseat and dirty texts and the pathetic thrill of being someone's forbidden desire. Marcus found out on a Tuesday. Not through Jake's texts, which I'd been deleting religiously. Not through the credit card charges at the lingerie store I'd hidden. Not even through the way I flinched when he touched me sometimes, guilt making my skin feel like it belonged to someone else. He found out because Jake got at their cousin's wedding and told him. I wasn't there. Marcus was finally feeling well enough for social events, but I'd begged off with a migraine. The truth was, I couldn't bear to be in the same room with both of them, watching Jake watch me, feeling Marcus's trusting hand in mine. So I stayed home, took a bath, tried to wash 3 weeks of bad decisions off my skin. Marcus came home at midnight. I heard his car, but something was off about the way he closed the door. Too careful. Too quiet. Like he was holding something back that might explode if he moved too fast. He stood in our bedroom doorway for a full minute before speaking. I pretended to be asleep, but he knew better. Marcus always knew when I was faking. "Jake told me," he said finally. His voice was strange. Hollow. Like someone had scooped out everything warm and left only the echo. I sat up, and the words I'd rehearsed for 3 weeks disappeared. All my explanations, my justifications, my carefully crafted confession. Gone. All that came out was, "Marcus. Don't." He held up his hand. "Just. Don't say my name. Not right now." He walked to our closet, pulled out a suitcase. His movements were mechanical, precise. The way he folded his shirts, the way he rolled his socks. Like he was on autopilot, running on muscle memory alone. "Where are you going?" My voice sounded pathetic even to me. "Does it matter?" He didn't look at me. "Do I matter?" "Of course you matter. Marcus, please, let me explain." He laughed then, but it wasn't really a laugh. It was the sound of something breaking. "Explain? What's to explain? While I was learning to walk again, you were my brother." The vulgarity of it, From Marcus, who never cursed, who said things like darn and even when he hit his thumb with a hammer. It made everything real in a way it hadn't been before. It wasn't like that, I started, but even I didn't know what I meant. What was it like? Love? It wasn't love. Lust? That felt too simple. It was like scratching an itch until you drew, then being unable to stop picking at the wound. He said you came to him, Marcus continued, still packing. Said you were lonely. Said you felt neglected because I was too sick to take care of you. That's not. I never said that. No? Then tell me, Sarah. Tell me why. Make me understand why 8 years meant nothing. Why my ring on your finger meant nothing. Why me almost dying meant nothing. I couldn't. Because the truth was worse than what Jake had said. The truth was that there was no good reason. No excuse that would make it make sense. I wasn't neglected. I wasn't unloved. I wasn't even particularly attracted to Jake until that moment in the elevator when possibility opened up like a door I didn't know existed. I don't know, I whispered. Marcus finally looked at me then, and I wished he hadn't. His eyes were red, swollen. He'd been crying? My strong, steady Marcus who hadn't cried even when they told him he might on the operating table. You don't know? He sat down on the bed, suddenly looking exhausted. The recovery had taken so much out of him, and now this. I keep thinking about when I woke up. You were there, holding my hand. Telling me you loved me. Was that a lie? No. Marcus, no. I do love you. But you my brother. That word again, sharp as glass. How many times? I couldn't answer. How many times, Sarah? 4. He stood up so fast the room seemed to spin. 4. 4 times while I was fighting to get better. 4 times in 3 weeks. He was doing the math, I could see it. Calculating the betrayals per day, the lies per kiss, the deceptions per I love you. I'm going to my parents' house, he said, zipping the suitcase. They don't know yet. Jake only told me because he was. Said he felt guilty. Said he loved you. Marcus laughed that broken laugh again. My brother loves my wife. And my wife let him. What do I do? I asked, pathetic and lost. I don't care, he said, but that was a lie. Marcus always cared. It was his blessing and his curse. Actually, no. You know what you should do? You should go to him. Go to Jake. See how long it takes before he gets bored. Before he realizes you're not a prize he won from me but a woman who would betray the person she promised to honor. See how long before he's checking his phone while you're talking, wondering who else might text him something exciting. I don't want Jake. Then what do you want? You. I want you. Marcus set down his suitcase and walked over to me. For a moment, I thought he might forgive me. Thought maybe love could be bigger than betrayal. He cupped my face the way Jake had in the elevator, but gentler. So much gentler. I would have died for you, he said quietly. I almost did, and all I could think about was getting back to you. 20 years from now, I would have still been bringing you flowers every Friday. 50 years from now, I would have still told you that you were beautiful every morning. That's what you had. That's what you away. He kissed my forehead, soft as a whisper, then picked up his suitcase and left. The house felt wrong without him. Too quiet. Too big. I called Jake, needing someone to tell me it would be okay, that we'd figure it out. He didn't answer. I called 6 more times. Finally, he texted, Marcus called me. Said to stay away from you or he'd tell everyone. My job, our family, everyone. I can't lose everything for this. I'm sorry. For this. Not for me. For this. I laughed, really laughed, for the first time in weeks. Because of course. Of course Jake would run the moment there were real consequences. The moment it wasn't a thrilling secret but a messy reality. He wanted the forbidden fruit, not the woman who'd eaten it. Word spread fast. Small town, big gossip. Marcus didn't tell people, but Jake did, trying to get his version out first. Making himself the victim of my seduction. The grieving sister-in-law who herself at him in a moment of weakness. Poor Jake, caught between loyalty and desire. My friends started pulling away. Lunch invitations dried up. The book club group text went silent when I contributed. Even the grocery store felt hostile, eyes following me down the aisles, whispers behind cereal boxes. Marcus filed for divorce 2 weeks later. Clean break, no contest. He wanted nothing from the house we'd built together. Keep it all, his lawyer said. He just wants this over. I tried to contest it, not for money but for time. For the chance to fix it. But you can't force someone to stay married to you. You can't force them to forgive the unforgivable. 3 months have passed now. Marcus is healthy, back at work. I see him sometimes around town, always from a distance. He looks good. Lighter somehow, like betrayal was a weight he'd been carrying without knowing it. He's dating someone new, I heard. A nurse from his cardiac rehab. Someone who helped him heal instead of breaking him when he was already broken. Jake moved to Seattle. New job, new life, new girlfriend who doesn't know he's the kind of man who'd his brother's wife while that brother fought for his life. We haven't spoken since that last text. I'm pregnant. Found out this morning, sitting on the bathroom floor of the house Marcus built for us, staring at two pink lines that might as well be prison bars. The timing makes it Jake's. Has to be Jake's. Marcus and I hadn't been together since before his surgery, doctor's orders. The irony is exquisite in its cruelty. 3 years of trying with Marcus. 3 years of negative tests and fertility appointments and temperature charts. 3 years of Marcus holding me while I cried every month when my period came. It'll happen when it's meant to, he'd say. And when it does, that kid will be so loved they won't know what to do with it all. Now here I am, pregnant with his brother's baby, sitting in the nursery. Marcus painted soft yellow because yellow is hopeful, and hope is what making a baby is all about. I called Jake. Had to. Whatever else he is, he's the father. He deserves to know, even if he doesn't deserve this child. You're lying, was the first thing he said. I'm not. It could be Marcus's. It couldn't. We hadn't. Not since before the surgery. Long silence. Then, get rid of it. The words shouldn't have surprised me, but they did. What? Get rid of it, Sarah. I'll pay. I'll pay for everything. But this can't happen. I'm with someone now. I'm building something real. Real? I laughed, sharp and bitter. This is real, Jake. This is the realest thing that's ever going to happen to you. It's not mine. It is. Prove it. I will. DNA test as soon as it's safe. Another silence. Then, if you have this baby, I'll deny everything. I'll say you're lying, that you're trying to trap me, that you're crazy from the divorce. No one will believe the woman who cheated on her sick husband. He was right. That's the worst part. He was absolutely right. I'm keeping it, I said anyway. Then you're on your own. He hung up. Blocked my number. Had his lawyer send a cease and desist letter the next day, preemptively denying paternity and legal action if I continued to him. I made an appointment with an OB/GYN in the next town over, where no one knows me. The nurse was kind, congratulating me, asking if the father was excited. He doesn't know yet, I said, which was easier than the truth. Everything about being pregnant feels like a punishment designed specifically for my crimes. Morning sickness that lasts all day, like my body is rejecting the evidence of what I've done. Exhaustion that keeps me in the bed I shared with Marcus, staring at the ceiling he patched last winter. And the hormones. God, the hormones that make me cry at everything. Marcus's coffee mug still in the cabinet. His work boots by the door that I can't bring myself to move. The Friday flowers that don't come anymore. I ran into his mother at the pharmacy yesterday. Helen. She'd always been kind to me, treated me like the daughter she never had. She looked right through me like I was glass. But then, as she passed, she stopped. Is it true? She asked. Are you pregnant? Small towns. No secrets. Yes. She studied my face for a long moment. Is it his? We both knew which his she meant. No, I said. It's Jake's. Her face crumpled like paper. That baby is my grandchild, she said quietly. My grandchild growing inside the woman who destroyed my son. She walked away before I could respond. What could I say anyway? Sorry? Sorry doesn't rebuild a family. Sorry doesn't unbreak a heart. Sorry doesn't make a baby disappear. I've started showing now, just barely. A small bump that feels like wearing my shame on the outside. The grocery store trips have become. People stare, do the math, whisper. Must be Jake's, I heard someone say in the cereal aisle. Marcus would never touch her now. They're right. Marcus would never touch me now. I saw him last week at the hardware store. He was buying paint, that same hopeful yellow. My heart stopped until I realized he was with her. Amy, the cardiac nurse. She was laughing at something he said, her hand on his arm, casual and comfortable. The way I used to touch him. He was painting a nursery, but not for my baby. For theirs, someday. For the family he'd build with someone who knew how to love him right. He saw me, saw my bump. For just a second, his face showed everything. The rage, the devastating disappointment. Then it went blank, professional. He nodded, the way you'd nod at a stranger, and went back to choosing paint. That night, I felt the baby move for the first time. Just a flutter, like butterfly wings. I put my hand on my stomach and cried until I up. This baby will never know its father. Will never know its uncle who should have been its father. Will never know its grandparents who can't bear to look at me. This baby will know only that its mother is the kind of woman who destroys families. I've started writing letters to the baby. Trying to explain. Trying to make sense of something senseless. Dear baby, I write. Your father is a coward and your mother is a fool. But you are innocent. You are the only innocent thing in this whole mess. Dear baby, I'm sorry you'll grow up without a father. I'm sorry you'll grow up in a town that will whisper about your origin story. I'm sorry you'll grow up with me as your mother. Dear baby, your uncle was the best man I've ever known. I'm sorry you'll never know him. I'm sorry I took that from you. The divorce was finalized yesterday. 12 years together, 8 years married, ended with a signature. Marcus didn't come to court. His lawyer handled everything. The house is mine, what's left of our savings is mine, everything mine except the only thing that mattered, him. I got a package today. No return address, but I recognized Marcus's handwriting. Inside was the Steelers blanket, the ratty one he'd had since high school, the one that smelled like feet and victory. There was a note. For the baby. Every kid needs something to believe in. Tell them it's lucky. Don't tell them who it's from. I held that blanket and sobbed until my ribs. Even now, even after everything, Marcus was thinking about an innocent child who shared his DNA but would never share his name. That's who he is? That's who I gave up for parking garage and the thrill of being wanted wrong. Jake married his girlfriend last month. Courthouse wedding, rushed and quiet. She's pregnant too, I heard. Due 3 months after me. He'll be a father to that child. Present and accounted for. While his first child grows up wondering why daddy doesn't want them. I've started looking at houses in different states. Somewhere no one knows me. Somewhere my child can grow up without the weight of my sins on their small shoulders. But every time I look at listings, I remember Marcus building our deck, hanging our front door, installing the kitchen backsplash tile by tile. This house is all I have left of him, even if it's also the scene of the crime. 20 weeks now. It's a girl. A daughter who will grow up without a father because her mother needed to feel special. A daughter who will ask questions I don't have good answers for. Where's Daddy? Why don't we see Daddy's family? Why does everyone look at us funny? What do I tell her? That Daddy is Uncle Jake who chose his reputation over her? That Grandma and Grandpa can't bear to look at her because she reminds them of their son's destroyed brotherhood? That the best man she'll never know is the one who should have been her father, who would have loved her completely, who would have brought her flowers every Friday just like he brought them to me. I've made a will. Left everything to her, including a letter to read when she's 18. A letter that says, "Your existence is not a mistake, but mine was. You are not responsible for the choices I made. You are not defined by how you came to be. You are worthy of love, the kind of love I away. The kind of love I hope you're smart enough to recognize and hold on to when you find it. Be better than me. That's a low bar, but aim higher anyway." The baby kicks now, strong and insistent. She's a fighter already. She'll have to be. Sometimes I dream Marcus forgives me. Shows up at my door, says we can work it out, says he'll raise this baby as his own. But that's just another selfish fantasy. Marcus deserves better than raising his brother's child with a woman who betrayed him. He deserves Amy with her kind eyes and clean conscience. He deserves the family he'll build on trust instead of ruins. I keep the Steelers blanket on my bed now. It still smells like him, like sawdust and honesty and the life I had before I decided I deserved more than faithful love. The baby will have it when she's born. Something good to wrap her in, even if everything else is tainted. 6 months pregnant now, and I've never been more alone. My parents still won't speak to me, and now I understand why. Some things you do put you beyond forgiveness. Some choices close doors that never open again. But here's the thing I've learned, the thing that wakes me up at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat: I did this. Not Jake, not circumstances, not neglect or loneliness or any other excuse. I looked at a good man who loved me completely and decided to destroy him for the cheap thrill of being desired by someone who didn't know how to love anyone but himself. And now I'm growing the evidence of my choice. A beautiful, innocent girl who will pay for my sins every day of her life. Who will wonder why she wasn't enough for her father to claim her. Who will grow up in the shadow of the family that should have been hers. The truth is a weight that gets heavier every day. I had everything, a man who would have loved me until his last breath, and I traded it for nothing. My daughter kicks again, reminding me she's here, she's real, she's coming whether I'm ready or not. I put my hand on my stomach and whisper, "I'm sorry." But sorry is just a word, and words can't rebuild what actions destroyed. Marcus is happy now, I hear. Truly happy. Building a new life with someone who knows how to honor love instead of weaponizing it. Good. He deserves that. He deserves everything I couldn't give him: loyalty, faithfulness, the basic decency of not his brother while he recovered from almost dying. And me? I deserve this. This hollow house full of ghosts. This baby who will ask questions that to answer. This bed that's too big and too cold, it still smells like the man who used to hold me like I was precious. Some people get second chances. Some people get forgiveness. And some people get exactly what they earned: a lifetime of living with the knowledge that they had everything and chose nothing. I'm 7 months pregnant now, and today I felt what it truly means to be alone. Not lonely, but alone. Completely, utterly alone with the consequences of my choices. The baby will be here soon, and then it won't just be my life I've ruined. That's my story. That's my confession. That's my warning. I had a husband who loved me like breathing, and I chose his brother who loved me like a conquest. Now I have neither, and I'm raising the proof of my betrayal alone. To anyone reading this who thinks the grass is greener, who thinks excitement is worth more than trust, who thinks adventure is worth more than safety, it's not. It's not. It's not. The grass isn't greener on the other side. It's artificial turf covering a sinkhole, and once you fall in, you don't climb back out. You just learn to live in the dark, pregnant with regret and a baby who deserved better than you. Take it from someone who learned too late: faithful love is the only kind worth having. Everything else is just a prettier way to end up alone, growing a stranger's baby while the man who would have given you everything builds his life with someone who knew that boring is just another word for safe, and safe is just another word for home.